Concerns over people in care facilities being able to cast their ballots. What you can do to make sure your loved one's vote gets counted.
Plus, the Prop 208 debate. Should we raise taxes on the wealthy to help fund education?
And later this half hour, how one extremist group used social media to make its mark in Arizona.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm ROSAURA Wordsworth.
And I'm Tyler Mannion. Thank you for joining us. As Election Day is just 12 days away, Arizona is doing everything in its power to make sure everyone has equal opportunity to vote. That means providing assistance to voters who are residing in long-term care facilities that can't go in person. Cronkite News reporter Caroline Lynch is here to explain more.
Arizona Secretary of State Katie Hobbs held a press conference today at the Arizona Capitol to discuss what the state is doing for eligible voters that are elderly, ill, or have a disability. Many of these people are either in caregiving facilities or are hospitalized and can't go out to vote in person. So how is the state going to provide these people opportunities to vote? Hobbs said the best way for people in long-term care facilities to vote is by mailing in their ballots. Requests for mail-in ballots have to be in by 5 p.m. tomorrow. However, if some of these individuals are not able to do so by the deadline, they have the opportunity to vote through a special election board. These boards consist of a bipartisan team that will deliver their ballot to them and help them vote. Individuals can also ask a trusted caregiver or a family member to help mark the ballot if they are unable to do so. Both Hobbs and the American Association of Retired Persons emphasize the importance of giving these people easy options to get their vote in.
I remember my great-grandfather had macular degeneration, and he couldn't see to vote, so my mom helped him vote. And my grandmother also had macular degeneration, so her last ballot that she voted, my mom helped her fill out the ballot. So that's why we realize that it's so important that we get the message out that if you are in a long-term care facility, you have every right to vote as long as you are able to practice that.
Hobbs and AARP emphasized that if any families or individuals need more information on how to get their vote in at long-term care facilities, there is guidance called FAQs for voters in hospitals and long-term care facilities. This is open and free for anyone to use on Arizona.vote. In the studio, Caroline Lynch, Cronkite News.
Again, tomorrow is the deadline for Arizona voters to request mail-in ballot for the 2020 elections. In Maricopa County, you can either visit request.maricopa.vote or call 602-506-1511 to request a mail-in ballot. Statewide, you can go to Arizona.vote. Once you get it, you can either return the ballot by mail or drop it off at a voting location. Postage is included on the envelope, but voters will need to make sure it's sealed and signed. The U.S. Postal Service also recommends mailing your ballot back at least 7 days before the election, which would be October 27th.
The 2020 presidential election is not the only contentious vote on the ballot. Proposition 208, known as the Invest in Education Act, would impose an additional 3.5% income tax increase on individuals making $250,000 or more in order to increase public education funding in Arizona. I talked to people on both sides of the issue to find out how it might impact Arizona's economy.
When we're talking about kids, every single dollar counts.
Experts on both sides of the issue agree the state needs to invest in education. The divide comes in when discussing Prop 208's effect on Arizona. Chad Heinrich, the state's NFIB director, points to potential effects on small business.
It's clear that the drafters of the initiative have never signed the front of a paycheck, because to think otherwise would mean that they were trying to take a direct assault against Arizona's small business economy, and I don't believe that that's their intention, but it is the result.
David Lujan, who supports Prop 208 and is the director of the Arizona Center for Economic Progress, says the tax won't affect most entrepreneurs in the state.
Prop 208 only taxes the wealthiest 1% of Arizona taxpayers. And so most small business owners are saying that they make nowhere near the taxable income to hit the thresholds by Prop 208.
The U.S. Small Business Administration reported that in 2016, the median salary for self-employed Arizonans with incorporated businesses was around $48,000. That means that if this one grain of rice represents $1,000, the average compares to the $250,000 threshold like this. That does not mean the rest of the economy won't be impacted, though.
I think there will be a dramatic impact on taxpayer behavior as a result of imposing these high tax rates on a handful of people.
Hoffman said that an estimated 40% of the people who will pay this tax are 60 or older, meaning they have likely come to Arizona to retire and would be willing to move out of the Grand Canyon state if their taxes increased.
As those millionaires leave, we're not just losing the Red for Ed taxes, we're losing the state's general fund revenue as they move as well.
Hoffman went on to say the proposition is a missed opportunity, and he wishes Arizona could have found another way to get education funding. But Carrie WOLFE says something had to be done.
When it came down to it, we decided, you know what, if the legislatures, if Governor Ducey aren't going to provide that funding, then we're going to make sure we get it for our kids, because my students deserve the very best education possible.
The Senate Judiciary Committee has advanced Judge Amy Coney Barrett's Supreme Court nomination to the full Senate. Republicans powered past a Democratic boycott of the session today to keep confirmation of President Donald Trump's pick on track before Election Day. Democratic senators refused to show up, protesting the GOP's rush to install Trump's nominee to replace the late Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. The Senate has never confirmed a Supreme Court nominee so close to a presidential election. The senators plan to convene a rare weekend session for procedural actions ahead of a final confirmation vote expected Monday.
Tonight, the final 2020 presidential debate will take place in Nashville, Tennessee. And this time, the moderator will have the ability to mute a candidate's microphone. While the rules may be different, the pressure is still on for former Vice President Joe Biden and President Donald Trump, with just 12 days to go before the election. The Commission on Presidential Debates is now giving each candidate 2 minutes of uninterrupted time to speak and muting microphones, in a move to prevent the chaos that unfolded in the first debate. The president complained about the debate rule change in an interview Wednesday.
Well, I think the mute is very unfair, and I think it's very bad that they're not talking about foreign affairs. They're supposed to be talking about foreign affairs, and I think that the anchor is a very biased person. Her parents are very biased, but that's my life. In the meantime, that's the White House standing behind me, right?
Biden says the new format is a step in the right direction.
The United States reported upwards of 1,000 daily COVID-19 deaths yesterday. That's the highest daily toll recorded in more than a month, and experts worry the worst of the fall surge is yet to come. Here in Arizona, data trends show increases in the weekly average of new cases, increasing in inpatient and ICU beds, and increases in patients on ventilators. Experts say we could see another COVID-19 wave as more businesses reopen, kids continue in-person learning, and both the flu and holiday seasons set in.
While some schools in Arizona are holding in-person classes during the pandemic, those on the Navajo Nation have stayed virtual. That's created some big challenges on the reservation. Cronkite News reporter Megan MARPLES visited one Navajo district to see how students' needs are being met.
Twitter, YouTube, and Netflix, all apps we use without a second thought. But most households on the Navajo Nation have no internet access or have iffy connections. To solve this, one school district came up with an innovative idea to help students get online and keep learning virtually. A couple of months ago, Pinyon Unified School District took action to help its 1,000 students stay connected during COVID. All 14 of their school buses are now equipped with Wi-Fi. The fleet goes to different locations across the reservation so students can upload assignments.
It kind of provides a stable internet connection to where it's faster and more reliable than you would have satellite internet.
Chenoa Begay and her 3 sisters frequently use the Wi-Fi buses. Her home has satellite internet, but it sometimes takes hours to upload one page. With the bus, it's mere seconds.
They're used to being in school in class with classmates. And sometimes our internet will go down and they're stuck without going to school for a day or so.
It is here in this dirt lot, 20 miles away from the high school itself, where Wi-Fi buses pull up 3 or 4 times a week. Without these buses, many Navajo children would have no way to connect to the internet or with their teachers. School would simply fall by the wayside. The Wi-Fi buses also occasionally deliver school lunches to students' homes. Some days, parents can pick up meals at the school as well. It might be busy outside, but inside, the hallways remain especially quiet. Since the pandemic hit in March, 2 people who worked in the school district have died from COVID-19.
They brighten the kids' days, right, when they walk into the school. The kids, the parents, the staff, you know, they just lit up the room.
While the pandemic has hit this school hard, some teachers are optimistic about the future. Robert Labarge records video lesson plans for his students almost every day from his classroom.
You know, you're sitting in a room talking to yourself. It's really weird, right? And you feel like a YouTuber or something. And so you kind of have to imagine what your audience, there's no live feed or anything like that. So what's the audience going to expect, but what are they also, like, what kind of questions are they going to have?
We left off on number 19.
It's not all bad. And what I mean by that is that we have been forced into a kind of way to understand technology and to utilize things that we never thought we'd have to.
Only about a quarter of households on the Navajo Nation even have broadband internet. That's hampered not just schoolwork, but also access to telehealth during the pandemic. Navajo leaders hope to address that by dedicating some CARES Act funding to help residents get connected. In the studio, Megan Marples, Cronkite News.
Coming up next on Cronkite News, the efforts underway to keep Latino students engaged in the classroom.
Plus, Arizona high school football goes national. All the details you'll need to know when we return.
This month in Passport, your on-demand library of the best of PBS.
Everyone has secrets. Are you protecting someone?
I have no choice.
You do have a choice. You're looking at him.
That's amazing. We could be standing on top of a T-Rex right now.
Women demanded new space and pushed the boundaries of what being a lady means.
These and other shows are available with Passport. Become a member of this PBS station, sign in, and start streaming today.
I'm Judy Woodruff, anchor and managing editor of the PBS NewsHour. The journalists of tomorrow face a fast-changing media landscape, but quality news remains vitally important to our communities, our country, and our world. At ASU's Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication, students learn solid, reliable reporting, holding the powerful accountable, and rebuilding the public's trust. The Cronkite School and Arizona PBS, preparing the next generation for a stronger future of journalism.
Ready to watch the best of PBS anytime, anywhere, on nearly any device? It's easy with the free PBS Video app. Simply download the PBS Video app on your mobile or streaming device. Now you can watch the latest PBS episodes or catch up on the shows you missed. And when you support your local station, you can get PBS Passport, giving you access to more episodes, more specials, more of what you love.
The second part of the annual Datos Conference, the State of Arizona's Hispanic Market, took place virtually today. Cronkite News reporter Delaney White tells us more about the topics they covered. Delaney?
It featured a panel of Latino educators who spoke about the importance of engaging Latino students in and out of the classroom. This year, Datos focused on education and educational disparities in Latino communities. Dr. Chad Justin, superintendent of the Phoenix Union High School District, explained how they are dealing with the current implications of COVID-19 and what that means for the future.
If we are going to deliver high quality, individualized education in the future, a lot of that is going to be electronically. Not saying that kids are going to be at home, but even when kids come back, you heard Stephanie say that we don't want to go back to normal. We'll never go back to normal. We should not go back to normal. And so we need to make sure that in this highly digital society in which we live, that our kids and our families have access to devices and internet at all times. And I think second, and connected to that, because we live in a digital world, we need really amazing digital content for our learners today. Education for so many years worked on in-classroom content, science labs and textbooks and things that are tangible in the classroom. And what we know to be true today is that our youth, especially our Latino youth, need access to high quality digital content 24/7, 365.
To learn more about the 2020 Datos report, visit the Arizona Chamber of Commerce website. In the Broadcast Center, Delaney White, Cronkite News.
Friday nights are for football, and this week, 2 top teams will be competing on national television. Our reporter, Abigail Shipley, has more on this exciting matchup.
The Hamilton Huskies and Saguaro SaberCats will face off on ESPN2. Hamilton is ranked number 32 in the country according to Max Preps, and Saguaro checks in at number 37.
It's going to be an elite production, and it'll give our fans and family members and friends across the country a chance to really take a good look at our program and see us compete on the highest stage with a team that's arguably the number 1 or number 2 team in Arizona.
Now that we get to play the other highly reputable school in Arizona at the national level, I mean, this is just awesome, and we're extremely excited to have the opportunity to be the best version of Hamilton High School that we can on Friday night.
For the players, there's no denying that each team will be bringing the heat when they take the field.
I know that it's going to be a dogfight between us two. I mean, I know there's going to be a lot of bad plays and a lot of good plays, but I just know that they're going to come out fast and strong right off the bat.
There's plenty of excitement surrounding the matchup, but coaches aren't straying away from their normal routine, making sure their players are as prepared and focused as they would be for any other game.
We tell our kids all the time, when we play in big games that, I always ask them, what do we have to do differently this week than we did before? And the answer is always nothing. We got to do what we do, play our brand of football. It doesn't matter if it's a regular season game, a scrimmage, or it's a state championship, it's nationally televised, it doesn't matter.
It's consistency that you want to maintain in your preparation. So that way the kids don't get too high, they don't get too low. We talk to the kids all the time, just be the best version of yourself on a Friday night and play to your ability at a very high level.
And the two teams will have that opportunity on a national stage. Abigail Shipley, Cronkite News.
Kickoff will start an hour earlier than normal at 6 p.m. on ESPN2. That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thanks for joining us.
Top Arizona stories anytime. Go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.